Alright. Hello everyone. So for this video recording, I will be continuing our discussion regarding the 1987 Philippine Constitution. But for this topic, we will be focusing on Article 3, which is the Bill of Rights of the Constitution. So before we proceed to Section 1, let me explain to you why Article 3 is considered as one of the most important feature of our article. So compare it to Article 2 dun sa Declaration of State Principles and Policies. So, doon binibigay lang yung mga aspirations o yung um, mga principles na sinusunod ng ating gobyerno. But for Article 3, the Bill of Rights, sinasaad dito yung mga karapatan ng mga Pilipino and their protection or their shield against the abusive power, or if there's an abusive power within our government. So the Bill of Rights limits the government power. It is designed to protect individuals from abuse by the state by giving us or providing us the different rights that we can use as a shield when we are being deprived of our basic rights within our constitution. Okay? So the Bill of Rights reflect the principle wherein the government is powerful but it's not obsolete. Okay? Meaning to say, meron pong limitation yung kapangyarihan ng gobyerno. And if the rights of the people is not protected, the government may oppress the people. Okay? So napaka-importante po ng Bill of Rights because it ensures order, security, and development of the state, and while respecting the individual freedom of the people. Okay? Again, the Bill of Rights sets the limitation of the government's power by providing us shield against any abusive approach or abusive action from the government. So let's proceed with section number 1. So section number 1. Section number 1 is entitled Due Process and Equal Protection. So, according here, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the law. Let's focus muna sa first clause or sa first phrase ng ating section number 1. Okay? Sabi dito, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. In Tagalog, wala pong tao, wala pong individual ang maaring pagkaitan ng buhay, ng karapatan, ng kalayaan, at ng ari-arian nang hindi dumadaan sa tamang proseso ng ating batas. Meaning to say, um, hindi po pwedeng kunin ng gobyerno yung ating kalayaan, yung ating mga karapatan at ari-arian nang hindi tayo dumadaan sa fair treatment o yung proseso, tamang proseso ng ating batas. Ano po yung tamang proseso o yung due process of law? Ito yung mga karapatan natin na marinig ng husgado o ng hukuman, magkaroon ng attorney, malaman kung ano yung kasong ating kinakaharap, kung sino yung mga witnesses, ano pa, ano yung rason kung bakit tayo hinuhuli, etc., etc. So when you say due process of law, it's the fair treatment before the law, okay? Yung mga karapatan natin as accused or as being held by the law, okay? So before the government can get or can deprive our life, yung life apaka broad eh, hindi naman pwedeng kunin ng ng ating gobyerno o ng batas yung buhay ng isang tao. Ang tinutukoy dito na life is our freedom and our rights, okay? So our life or the our enjoyment of being free and as a person, kasi hindi po natin may enjoy ang life, di ba? Yun po yung main point ng paghuli ng isang tao is for the government or the law to deprive the enjoyment of life um towards that person by locking him up or her up sa mga prison, okay? Liberty and property. Sa next law, sinabi dito, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the law. So, whether what economic status, gender, race, religion, educational attainment you have, lahat po ay equal sa mata ng batas. We all have equal protection and we have equal accountability under the law. Okay, yan po yung tinutukoy dyan. So there shall not be any person denied with equal protection of the law. Parang sa rule of law lang, di ba? Wala dapat nakakataas sa batas. Ganon din po yung tinutukoy dito. Pero in a positive way, walang tao ang hindi walang tao ang dapat i-deny yung karapatan niya for equal protection of the law. Okay? Isa pa sa mga feature ng Section 1, kaya tinawag din siyang the heart of constitutional protection kasi binibigay niya yung tinatawag nating writ of amparo. Writ of amparo is a fast legal remedy or a legal weapon in the Philippines that people or the citizen can use to protect their right to life, liberty, and security. So it serves as a shield. Anyone can file writ of amparo for them to protect their family loved ones or themselves against extralegal killings or extrajudicial killing, enforce disappearance or threat thereof. Like for example, kung may kapamilya kang hinuli ng otoridad o ng kahit anong individual, pwede ka mag-file sa korte ng writ of amparo para questionahan o tanungin yung ating mga otoridad kung may alam ba sila kung asaan yung iyong kapamilya o yung kamag-anak, kung ano yung dahilan, kung bakit siya hinuli, etc. etc. So, importante ito para mapangalagaan natin yung ating karapatan at hindi tayo magkaroon ng maka-experience ng mga nabanggit dito like extrajudicial killing or enforced disappearance. Remember class that 1987 Constitution was established after the martial law. So nakabase halos karamihan po sa content ng ating Constitution ay nakabase dun sa experiences ng ating mga Pilipino during the martial law. Okay? So one concrete example of that is this section number 1. Okay? Kasi during the martial law, marami daw cases ng extrajudicial killing, mga salvage cases, mga nawawalang tao without appearing in court or within judges or hindi man lang nadinig yung kaso nila. Bigla na lang silang nawala, okay? Yun po yung iniiwasan ng ating section number 1 sa article number 3, okay? It is the writ of amparo that protects ourselves and our family members from this kind of abuse of the government. Okay? Whether it is committed by the government officials or private individuals, we can file a writ of amparo. Okay? Next, section number 2. Section number 2 is about protection against unreasonable searches and seizure. So within this section, it says here that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effect against unreasonable searches and seizure of whatever nature and for any purpose shall be inviolable. Meaning to say, hindi po pwedeng um, magsagawa ng unreasonable searches o paghahalungkat, paghahanap, at pagkuha ng kahit anong gamit ng tao, mga dokumento at iba pa kapag walang probable cause at wala itong dalawang napaka-importanteng dokumento from our judicial branch. It is the search warrant and the warrant of arrest. Within these two documents, dapat nakalagay po dito yung tinatawag nating probable cause o yung rason kung bakit isinasagawa itong warrant na ito ay yung search na ito o ito yung pag-aaresto. Okay? Probable cause is the reason or the reason or um the complaint why this arrest or this search is being conducted. Okay? This warrant of arrest and search warrant is personally determined by a judge, duly signatured by a judge after the examination under oath or affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses. So wala pong ibang tao na pwedeng mag-release at magbigay ng search warrant and warrant of arrest kundi ang judge lang po. Judge of a court. Okay? Re-release lang po siya ng search warrant and warrant of arrest after confirmation of a complainant or a witness of a case or a crime. Okay? And within this document, dapat nakalagay po dito, particularly or in detailed, yung description ng lugar na hahalongkatin, the place, at saka yung tao o yung bagay, detailed information na kukunin o yung aarestuhin. Okay? Again, sa search warrant and warrant of arrest, napaka-importante po na merong probable cause o rason kung bakit isinasagawa yung pag-aresto o yung pagkuha at paghahalongkat. At importante din po na malaman ninyo na dapat ito po ay inirelease ng isang judge after confirmation from a compliant and a witness. And then, another one, dapat naka-detailed po o naka-state sa inyong mga dokumento yung specific detail of the place, yung itsura, anong address, anong street, anong block, anong house number, um, and the detailed of the person or the thing that is being seized. Sa person, siguro yung appearance, the age, the description of the man, mataba ba, facial hair or whatsoever, yan po yung kino-consider na details within the warrant of arrest, okay? Sa bagay naman, dapat detailed din yung pagkakadescribe nung kung anong bagay yung hinahanap. Like for example, um, illegal drugs, kung anong uri ng illegal drugs yung dapat nilang yung hinahanap nila within that area. So yun po yung dapat nilalaman ng ating search warrant and outing warrant of arrest. Now, um, in the case of checkpoints, sa cases po ng mga police checkpoint na isinasagawa within in different areas of our country, applicable po yung tinatawag natin na warrantless arrest. Ito po yung exemption na hindi po kailangan yung search warrant and warrant of arrest kapag sa mga ganitong scenario, okay? Kasi within checkpoints, the authority has the power to search the vehicle or the people within or crossing within these checkpoints. But remember that during checkpoints, may tinatawag po tayong plain view doctrine. Ito po yung scenario wherein the authority do not have the power to force the driver or any person within that vehicle to come out from the vehicle itself. Okay? Hindi po pwedeng pwersahin ng ng otoridad na palabasin yung mga tao sa loob ng sasakyan. And then another one, kung ano lang po yung nakikita ng police within outside the car, 'di ba may ano paggabi may hawak siyang flashlight. Tsaka itututok niya yung flashlight sa loob ng sasakyan. Kung ano lang po yung nakikita niya with the use of flashlight sa loob ng car, yun lang po yung pwedeng imbestigahan ng authority. Okay? Kung ano lang po yung nare-reach ng kanyang flashlight o yung kanyang eyesight. Kung wala siyang nakitang kahit anumang probable cause na palabasin yung driver o yung kahit anong tao sa loob ng sasakyan, hindi po pwedeng gawin yun ng authority. So, kailangan niyang padaanin yung sasakyan. Though, kung may probable cause, sa pagpa-flashlight niya, may nakita siyang droga or weapon or whatsoever, katawan ng tao, then probable cause po yun na pwedeng gamitin ng authority para palabasin ka at arestuhin without warrant of arrest. Okay? Kasi part po yun ng police power ng gobyerno, hindi ba? And then, aside from that, aside from eyesight, kapag may narinig or naamoy yung authority within your vehicle, like for example, may narinig siyang sumisigaw ng tulong, that's a probable cause for the authority for him or her to force you to come out within your ay to come out from your vehicle or to force you to open any part of your car, the compartment, the trunk, etc., etc. Okay? Pero kung wala pong probable cause, walang naamoy, walang narinig, walang nakita, ang kaya lang pong gawin ng authority ay i-flashlight o flashlightan at tignan kung ano yung kaya niyang makita sa loob ng sasakyan. Okay? Sir, reasonable po ba yung pagkuha ng lisensya o paghanap ng lisensya? Yes, part po yun ng kanilang kapangyarihan. Authority during checkpoint. Nahanapan kayo ng lisensya, OR, at iba pang mga patunay na sayo yung sasakyan or meron kang lisensya. Okay? Part po yun. For public safety po yun. Hindi po siya kabilang sa reasonable search and seizure. Okay? Next, meron pong tinatawag na Terry search. Terry search. O in Tagalog, ito po yung pagkapkap. Okay? Sinasagaw yung pagkapkap sa mga massive na events for public safety at saka mga um mga public events, mostly mga public events, okay? So, ito po yung warrantless search. Part pa rin po siya ng warrantless search kasi it's for public safety. Okay? Kapag public safety yung pinag-uusapan, hindi na po kinakailangan ng search warrant or warrantless arrest. Okay? Now, ito pong Section 2 ay hindi applicable sa mga lugar under the declaration of martial law. Like for example, during the Marawi surge in Mindanao, idineclare ni Pangulong Duterte na ang Marawi o yung buong Mindanao is under the martial law. Okay? Under martial law siya. So yung warrantless arrest, I mean warrant of arrest and search warrant ay maaring hindi gamitin ng authority within this area. Na ano po siya na nagiging exemption po yung mga lugar na under ng martial law, okay? Kasi within this area, it can the public safety or national security is at risk. Okay? So dinidismiss po yung paggamit ng warrantless arrest at saka warrant of arrest at saka search warrant. Ano pa? Last na lang. Dito sa section 2, kapag nagbigay ka naman ng consent para sa authority na buksan yung part ng sasakyan mo o you are voluntarily came out from your vehicle, valid po yun, okay? Pero kung ayaw mong lumabas, wala namang probable cause para ikaw ay lumabas, or persang palabasin sa sasakyan mo, you have the right to remain in your car. Okay? Kaya importante din yung pagbibideo. You need to secure a video recording during this kind of scenarios para protection mo na rin against any abuse from the authorities if meron man. Next, we have section number 3, privacy of communication. So within this section, it is divided into two. For the first part, it says here that the privacy of communication and correspondence shall be inviolable inviolable except upon lawful order of the court or when public safety or order requires otherwise as prescribed by law. In short, the government cannot access, intervene, intercept, wiretap, or disclose any private or personal messages such as from letters, phone calls, texts, and online chats from individuals and use it against you. Okay? Hindi po pwedeng makialam, i-hack ng gobyerno yung account mo and to open your private messages, phone logs, etc., etc. Without if the law doesn't require it or if there's no public safety concern involved within you, okay? Or sa case mo. Like for example, kung hindi ka naman terorista or hindi ka naman public threat, walang rason o walang karapatan ng gobyerno na pakialaman yung mga private messages mo. Makinig sa mga tawag mo, buksan yung account mo, i-hack yung account mo, etc. etc. Violation po yun ng privacy of communication. Okay? Pero may karapatan po ang gobyerno na gawin yon kapag ikaw ay person of interest, a suspect, or an accused that is involving with public safety or national security. Okay? Public threat ka. Maaari pong gamitin yun ng gobyerno as a way to intervene or intercept with your personal communication channels. Okay? Number two, any evidence obtained in violation of this or the preceding section shall be inadmissible for any purpose in any proceeding. So kung ginawa ito ng gobyerno, pinakialaman niyo yung mga personal messages mo, private calls, etc., online chats, hindi po pwedeng gamitin ng gobyerno yung mga ebidensya from those chats or from those informations, data, as an evidence against you. Hindi po siya admissible. Hindi po siya pwedeng gamitin within the court. Okay? That's within the government and you. Pero kapag private cases like someone accuse you of scamming her, may kaso ka ng scamming, ikaw, tapos may nag-file ng case, tapos may ebidensya and the evidence is a screenshot from Messenger, that screenshot can be admissible through court. Okay? Pwede po siyang gamitin as evidences. As long as authenticated po yung screenshot, meaning to say, it is um, authenticated by the social media website or the yung mismong app and yeah, should be authenticated para makita na hindi fabricated or edited yung screenshot. Okay? Yung mga screenshot po, pwede po silang gamitin as evidences if the case is within two private individuals. Pero if the government do it at walang public safety concern na involved, hindi po yun pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno. Hindi po siya pwedeng makialam sa mga personal communications po natin. Hindi po siya pwedeng makinig sa mga calls natin if wala namang connection sa public safety. Like for example, you are accused of terrorism, the government hack your phone, that's valid. That's admissible. That is tawag na nila dito. That's allowed. Okay? Allowed po 'yun. Now, number four, freedom of speech, expression, press, assembly, and petition. Okay? So, according to this section, no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or to the press, or the right of the people peace, peace, peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. Anong ibig sabihin nito? In this section, class, It guarantees the freedom to express ideas, criticize the government, and assemble peacefully. Nap Importante po 'to, essential po 'to in a democratic society because it allows the people or the citizen to participate in public discourse. Wala pong batas ang dapat maghihinder o magpre-prevent sa freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of press ng mga tao at saka freedom to form an assembly, to protest, and to file petition against the government. Okay? Wala po dapat batas na ma-establish o ma-create that will limit these different rights of the people. So ang mga Pilipino po may karapatang ipahayag yung kanilang mga saloobin, sabihin yung gusto nilang sabihin sa gobyerno as long as hindi po siya nakaka-violate ng human rights, hindi po siya violente masyado. At saka ang focus po ng kanyang speech ay questionahin o ikondena ang gobyerno at hindi magsagawa ng revolusyon o rebellion against the government. So we have this freedom, we have this power, but we should be responsible and accountable of our actions. Okay? May kapangyarihan tayong magsalita, pero wala po tayong karapatan na maging bayolente o magsalita ng hindi sibil o hindi makatao. Okay? Again, as I have mentioned, with great power comes great responsibility. Kasi kung meron nga tayong mga ganitong batas, pero kung ginamit naman natin itong mga karapatan na ito sa hindi maayos na approach o pamamaraan, baka bumalik o mag-bounce back sa atin yung violation. Maaari pa tayong kasuhan ng defamation. Okay? Alam niyo ba yung defamation? Defamation, it has two types. Pag sinabi natin defamation, paninira ng puri ng ibang tao. And we have two types of defamation. Oral defamation and written or printed defamation. Okay? Sa written or published or printed defamation, ito yung tinatawag natin as libel. Okay? Tandaanan nyo na lang, libel, katunog ng label. Pag sinabi ng label, nakasulat. Label ng mga products, di ba? So, kapag libel, um, ito yung paninira ng puri ng ibang tao sa pamamaraan ng pagsulat, pag-post, o pag-print. Okay? Habang yung oral defamation o spoken defamation, tinatawag natin siya as slander. Okay? Libel tsaka slander. Two types of defamation. Yan po yung pwede nating makaharap kapag hindi natin ginamit ng maayos yung ating freedom of speech, expression, or press. Okay? Ang tandaanan niyo pag ginagamit niyo itong mga karapatan na ito, we should be civilized. We should not initiate violence. We should not cause rebellion towards our government kahit gaano na um, kasama yung corruption. Hindi po dapat tayo nag-initiate ng rebellion. May ibang paraan po para isagawa natin yung reforma o pagbabago sa ating gobyerno. Meron po tayong tinatawag na 'di ba? Yung mga recall, um, impeachment. Ayan, mag-file po tayo ng impeachment. Magreklamo tayo sa Supreme Court. And we can um, conduct pa rin naman or exercise our people power revolution, yung peaceful revolution, peaceful protest na tinatawag. Okay? So yun po, hindi po natin kailangang kalabanin ang gobyerno in a violent way. Okay? Again, freedom of speech, expression, press, assembly, and petition. Hindi na tayo magdi-deal too much dyan. Next, we have section number 5, freedom of religion. According to the freedom of religion, no law shall be made respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, the free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship, without discrimination or preference shall forever be allowed. No religious test shall be required for the exercise of civil or political rights. Focus muna tayo sa first sentence. No law shall be made respecting or an establishment of religion. Wala dapat batas na may papasa na nag establish ng religion. At wala pong kinikilala ang Pilipinas na iisa at iisang iisang religion, okay? Wala po siyang kinikilala. The government and the state respect all the religions that the Filipino has. Kahit anong religion pa yan. Pa Islam, Christianity, INC, Jehovah, kahit yung mga animism, kapag ine-exercise pa yan, in even kahit mga kulto-kulto, allow po yan sa ating freedom of religion. Kasi in our freedom of religion, the government or the state respect the freedom to believe. Okay? Nire-respect niya yung exercise natin ng religious beliefs natin. Allow po tayong sumali sa kahit anong religion as long as the religion that we are into ay hindi nagpro-promote o nagsasagawa ng mga actions or activities that are illegal or disrespecting human rights. Okay? And then, the government or the state also gives the people the freedom to act on those beliefs. Meaning to say, if your religion is INC, the government allows you to act according to your beliefs as an INC. Like for example, yung hindi pagkain ng dinuguan, yung pagpili ng ng um, ng iboboto mo during election na sinabi ng inyong leader, nirerespeto po 'yun ng gobyerno. Okay? Nirerespeto po 'yun ng gobyerno kung ano man yung mga actions na nakaangkla o naaayon sa inyong paniniwala as long as yung mga action na yon ay hindi po against the existing laws that we have in the Philippines, and then it doesn't violate any human rights. Okay? Hindi po siya nakaka-violate ng kahit anong karapatan ng ibang tao. The free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship, ayan, ina-allow din po ng gobyerno yung religious profession like the priests and the other religious leaderships or professions here in the Philippines. Um, the state or the government make sure na walang discrimination within religion. Kaya kung mag-a-apply ka ng trabaho, wala po dapat specific na religion yung yung pina-prioritize kapag nasa public government. Pero sa private, especially yung mga private schools na Catholic schools, they should not discriminate other religion, but they can prioritize. Okay? They can prioritize those people na um, according dun sa requirements ng kanilang position. But they do not have the right to discriminate. Okay? It is open for all, but they can prioritize those people who are within the requirements or qualification of the position. Okay? Sabi din dito sa last part, no religious test shall be required for the exercise of civil and political rights, meaning to say, wala dapat religious requirements sa pagboboto o kahit yung pagtakbo sa politika o sa gobyerno. Wala po dapat religious requirements yon. Kahit anong religion na meron ka, pwede ka pong tumakbo sa gobyerno as long as the qualification is there. Okay? Qualifications, the age requirement, being a voter, etc., etc. Ano pa? Section number 6, liberty of abode and right to travel. So according here, the liberty of abode and of changing the same within the limits prescribed by law shall not be impaired except upon lawful order of the court. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng liberty of abode? Pag sinabi natin liberty of abode, it's your right. It is your right or your freedom to choose whatever place you want to live in or with or on. Kung saan mo gustong manirahan. That's the liberty of abode. Okay? Choosing what place, saan ka man titira, or kung papalit ka man ng tirahan, wala po dapat pipigil sa'yo sa ating batas. As long as um, hindi ka po hindi ka po, again, hindi ka po threat, hindi ka po public threat, at saka you are not under this what we call as house arrest. Okay? Itong mga Itong mga cases na ito, exemption po ito ng ating mga karapatan. Kasi kung naka-warrant of arrest ka, house arrest rather, kapag naka-house arrest ka, hindi ka po pwedeng lumabas o magpalit ng tirahan. Kung nasaan ka o kung ano yung prescribe ng husgado o ng hukuman na paglalagyan mo, doon ka lamang po. House arrest nga, hindi ba? So, kung hindi ka public threat at hindi ka naka-house arrest, you shall not be limited by the law or by the government to choose whatever place or wherever place in the Philippines or outside the Philippines yung gusto mong tirahan. Okay? Next, neither shall the right to travel be impaired except in the interest of national security, public safety, or public health as may be provided by law. Kanina, your right or your freedom to choose where to live. Dito naman sa right to travel, ito yung karapatan mo na mag-move o pumunta sa kung saan mo man gusto within or outside our country. Okay? Wala dapat batas na magpipigil sa'yo na mag-travel. As long as, ayun, may exemption pa rin. As long as kinoconsider natin yung interest ng national security, public safety, or public health. Like for example, during the pandemic, nirestrict po yung paglabas ng bahay, yung pagta-travel, kasi it is within the public health concern or public safety concern. Yung mga ganong scenario po, doon po nagiging exempted o na nare-restrict yung ating mga karapatan. Okay? So, may mga karapatan po tayo, pero may mga scenarios or cases na pwede pong i-restrict ng gobyerno itong karapatan natin. And all of this is for public safety. Okay? And for public concern. Hindi po sa ano. Kasi within a democratic country, ang pinapangalagaan natin ay yung kapakanan ng nakararami. Hindi po yung ng mga individual. Okay? O, ano yung mga example nito, yung mga may kaso like Atong Ang, um, Zaldico, hindi ba? Um, Sila yung tinanggalan ng karapatan na mag-travel at saka magpalit ng tirahan. Pero dahil masyadong loose yung ating batas at yung ating security, nakakalabas pa rin ng Pilipinas yung mga tinutuligsa ng batas, yung mga backdoor kasi sa Mindanao, yun yung ginagamit ng mga may pera para makaalis at makatakas sa kamay ng ating batas. Okay? That's the sad reality within the Philippines. Na yung mga mahihirap, they do not have the means and the rights and yeah, the means to escape the law, which is proper, pero yung mga mayayaman, they have the means and the capabilities to escape the law, which is hindi dapat. Okay? Okay, number 7 is the right to information. The right of the people to information on matters of public concern shall be recognized. Access to official records and to documents and papers pertaining to official acts, transactions, or decisions, as well as to government research data used as basis for policy development, shall be afforded by the citizen, subjects to such limitations, as may be provided by law. Okay? So within this section, ibinibigay sa atin yung isang utang ng gobyerno o responsibilidad ng gobyerno. Ito yung tinatawag natin na transparency at saka accountability. Okay? Transparency. Primary primary transparency. So the people has the right to demand transparency within the um, informations or documents of the government as long as the documents are not limited for security or confidential reasons. Okay? So, pwede pong magkaroon ng access ang ating mga civilian citizens to official records or documents, like for example, expenses ng gobyerno o yung public spending nila, the funds of the government, the policies that they are creating, what else, decisions, agreements, as long as hindi po siya ganun ka-confidential na kung nirelease siya sa public, hindi po siya makakapag-cause ng public chaos or public threat or whatsoever. O hindi po pwedeng gamitin ng ibang mga tao against the government. So confidentiality yung rine-restrict naman dito sa right to information. But if there's no such thing, lahat po dapat ng mga documents na kinasasangkutan ng gobyerno na walang confidential concern ay dapat po ibinibigay o pinapakita sa gobyerno ay sa mga tao, okay? Transparency. Within the confidential funds, exemption po yung confidential funds kasi hindi po dapat talaga pinapakita yung content ng o detailed information regarding the spending of the confidential fund. Pero the case of impeachment of Sara Duterte, pwede pong i-discuss yung nilalaman ng confidential fund o yung spending, pero hindi po pwedeng ibigay yung mga specific information. Like for example, kanino yung ibinigay yung pera, etc., etc. Kaya I think yung Mary Grace Payatos na yan, ginamit lang yan as alias, etc., to cover up yung mga totoong tao na pinanggalingan ng mga spending o yung expenses. Pero the bad side of the case of the confidential fund of Sara Duterte, of BP Sara Duterte, is that they cannot explain um yung specific, I mean, hindi nila kayang explain kung saan nila ginasto yung confidential fund. Again, they can discuss the the purpose of the confidential fund, pero hindi nila pwedeng ibigay yung specific informations kung saan nila ibinigay na tao yung mga pera. Okay? Like for example, ginamit ni secretary ganito yung pera para bayaran si ganito. No, 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 they cannot do that. All they can do is to discuss which case, which purpose was the confidential fund was used. So the confidential fund was used to investigate the case within the ganito, ganyan, something like that. Okay? So they can do that, but they cannot give or disclose specific information. Kaya nga siya confidential, di ba? Now, um, ano pa ba? Ano pa yung mga hindi nila pwedeng i-disclose? Ito, mga military plans. Okay? In, common sense po yan, hindi po nila pwedeng ibigay o pa sa publiko yung mga plano o strategies, military strategies ng ating hukbong sandataan para din sa effectivity and strategy ng ating militar. Okay? Yun yung mga ilang mga bagay na hindi pwedeng ibigay o i-disclose for transparency ng gobyerno sa mga tao. Okay? Pero aside from those one, dapat lahat na expenses and other data from the government should be disclosed or provided publicly to to the people. Okay? Right to form association, section number 4, ay section number 8. The right of people, including those employed in the public and private sectors, to form union, associations, or society for purpose not contrary to law shall not be abridged. Okay, there's no law that shall be passed that abridging the formation of union, association, or organization. Wala dapat pipigil sa public or sa mga private sectors na mabuo o bumuo ng mga union, asosasyon at mga organisasyon para sa kanilang mga pansariling adhikain. Okay? Basta yung mga asosyasyon na ito o mga union na ito o mga organisasyon na ito ay hindi contrary sa gobyerno. I mean, hindi contrary sa batas. Hindi nakaka-violate ng batas o hindi nag-i-ignite ng rebellion. Okay? Pwede pong bumuo ng mga asosyasyon, asosyasyon, tama? Organisasyon o mga union, hindi po pwedeng bumuo ng mga ganyan na nag-ignite ng rebellion against the government. Okay? Pero pwede pong bumuo ng mga ganyang grupo na pwedeng magkondena, mag-question o mag, ah, magtulak ng reforma sa gobyerno. Pero pag ang grupong binubuo ay direktang nag-o-oppose, kumukontra o lumalaban sa gobyerno like NPA, yan po yung mga pinagbabawal ng right to form association. Okay? Binaviolate na po nito yung ating batas. Hindi po pwede yon. Ano mga example nito? Yung mga non-government organizations, mga people's organization, mga party systems, at iba pa. Mga movement, group movement, di ba? Yung mga um, manggagawa, manggagawa groups, teachers groups, student associations, etc. etc. Yun po yung tinatawag natin na unions, associations, and organizations. Next, we have section number 9, just compensation in eminent domain. According here, that private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. The government class can take or can acquire your properties for public use. Okay, tandaan ninyo po. Pwede pong kunin ng gobyerno yung ating mga ari-arian para sa public use o mga proyekto ng gobyerno para sa publiko, para sa mga mamamayan. Pero hindi po pwedeng kunin ng gobyerno ang ating ari-arian kapag hindi po sila magbibigay ng just compensation o yung kabayaran dito sa pagkuha ng ating mga ari-arian. Okay? By the way, itong process na ito ay tinatawag nilang eminent domain. Isa sa mga kapangyarihan na inherited o saklaw ng ating pamahalaan o ng ating gobyerno. Okay? Aside from just compensation, the government must make sure na yung private property natin ay yan na lang yung natitirang resources na pwede nilang kunin para mabuo nila yung public use. Meaning to say, kukunin lang nila yung private property mo kapag alam ng gobyerno na wala ng ibang available resources na pwedeng makuha na hindi kumukuha ng private property. Meaning to say, kapag gagawa sila ng kalsada, kapag wala ng ibang way o ibang property na pwedeng makuha, yung property mo lang kasi yun yung nasa daan, yun yung masasagasaan, ng proyekto, may karapatan ng gobyerno na kunin o bilhin yung pagmamay-ari mo for public use. Okay? For the construction of road or highway. Ganun po yun. That's the eminent domain. Pwede po bang tumanggi ang mga tao? Pwede pong tumanggi yung mga tao kapag walang just compensation o walang kabayaran. Okay? Pero kung may kabayaran at wala namang exploitation or deceit o panloloko from the government, wala pong karapatan o wala pong kapangyarihan ang mga pribadong tao na tumanggi dito sa eminent domain na ito. Okay? Remember, private property can be taken from private individuals if there's a just compensation, there's no available sources, alternative from your private property, and and um the public project is needed. Napaka-importante o importante po na may isagawa. Okay? Now, paano po yung estado ng kabayaran? Ano po yung magiging standard niyan? Kung lupa yung pinag-uusapan, kung ano po yung cost ng lupa during the transaction of eminent domain, yun po yung gagamitin ng gobyerno na standard o rate sa pagbili ng iyong lupa o pag-compensate ng inyong ari-arian. So kung 1 hectare is, I mean 1 square meter is 2,000, tsaka 50 square meters yung sayo, then babayaran kanila ng 2 times 50, 100,000. Okay? Ganun po yun. Kung ano po yung cost ng lupain ninyo o yung ari-arian nyo during the transaction of eminent domain, yun po yung gagamitin ng gobyerno bilang standard o rate sa pagbabayad sa inyo o pagko-compensate ng inyong ari-arian. That's just compensation in eminent domain. Okay? Next, section number 9. Wait lang. Ano ba dito? Section number 10. Section number 10 is non-impairment of contracts. According here, no law impairing the obligation of contracts shall be passed. Meaning to say, wala dapat batas na maghihinder o magva-violate ng obligation of contracts within individuals or individuals to an institution or company. Meaning to say, wala po dapat batas na may papasa na maghihinder, magi-stop, mag-alter o magbabago sa mga kontratang kinasasaklawan ng isang individual o ng isang institusyon. Okay? Like for example, kapag may agreement, usapan o contract na utang, nagkautang ka sa isang tao, like for example, may loan ka, house loan, bumili ka ng bahay through loans o utang sa Camellia, sabi natin sa Camellia. Tapos may loan kayo na 1 million per year for 10 years. Ayan, so hindi pwedeng magpasa ng batas ang gobyerno na mag-e-exempt sa lahat ng tao na wag nang bayaran yung mga utang nila sa Camellia. Okay? Hindi po pwede yun. The government cannot pass a law that will impair or that will prevent the obligation of someone or of an institution in accomplishing a contract. Kasi yung contract po, napaka-importante po yan. It's a form of agreement within two individuals or two institutions, okay? Hindi pwedeng makialam ang gobyerno within contracts. Ganun din po sa usapan ng paglo-loan, small loans like kapag ako umutang ako sa isang loaning company, may kontrata 'yun, 'di ba? May mga pipirmahan kami. Kaya importante pong binabasa po natin yung contract of agreement. Kasi kung hindi po natin intindihan yung contract of agreement, yung nilalaman ng ating kontrata, maaring tayo yung maabuso. nung other parties. Okay? So we need to understand the content of our contracts. And that kung tayo yung dehado sa kontrata, hindi po natin pwedeng sabihan yung gobyerno na tulungan mo ako dito kasi inaabuso ako dito. Hindi ko kasi binasa yung contract. Pero kapag pinapirma sa'yo yung contract without your consent, I mean, pwersado kang pinapirma o lasing ka siguro nung pinirmahan mo yung magiging invalid yung contract mo. Pero kung you are conscious, you are aware of what you are signing within these contracts, hindi po pwedeng makialam ang gobyerno because it will be in violation of this non-impairment of contracts. Okay? Then again, may exemption pa rin po ito kapag with concern of public welfare, health, and safety, pwede pong pwede po ulit pumasok o mag-intervene yung gobyerno. Like for the case of crisis, pag may case ng crisis tapos hindi walang source of income karamihan ng mga Pilipino sa Pilipinas, tapos may mga loans na kinabibilangan yung mga Pilipino o mostly ng mga Pilipino, the government can cause a delay or control the loan service para lang sa public welfare ng mga tao. But hindi pwede yung itigil o like wag nang bayaran, no. Wala pong kapangyarihan yung gobyerno to do that. Um Magpo-pursue pa rin yung kontrata pero pwede siyang ma-delay if it is concerning public welfare, health, and safety. Okay? Yun yung priority ng gobyerno. Public welfare, safety, or health. Next, number 11, free access to courts. Free access to the courts and quasi-judicial bodies and adequate legal assistance shall not be denied to any person by reason of poverty. Oh. Basically, wala po dapat um, o hindi po dapat itinatanggi yung access ng court at ng iba pang uri ng korte o ng judicial bodies like quasi-judicial bodies. Pag sinabi natin quasi, yung mga institutions or government agencies ay nagsuserve or nag-act as a judicial bodies. Like for example, yung ano ba pwedeng yung DepEd, may kaso ng may kaso ng dalawang teachers na nag-aaway. Pumunta sa main office ng DepEd, magkakaroon ng quasi-judicial body hearing. So yung DepEd, siya yung parang mag-serve as um, korte para dinggin yung kaso ng dalawang kapag kapag when it comes to their own issues, hindi yung issues na magva-violate ng batas o ng human rights. Kasi kung mga ganong type ng cases, diretso po yan sa korte natin, sa mga courts, regional municipal courts. Pero kapag ganong mga personal scenarios, pwede pong maging quasi-judicial bodies o mag-act as just like a judicial branch yung mga executive o legislative branches natin. Okay? Sa main point ng ating Section 11, wala dapat tao na dinideny yung karapatan nila ng legal assistance at saka free access ng court, especially kung yung dinideny ay dahil sa kahirapan. Okay? Kung wala silang kakayahan, capabilities to acquire legal assistance, the government shall provide a free assistance. Okay? Diyan na po papasok yung tinatawag natin na Public Attorney's Office o yung libreng legal na serbisyo o serbisyo legal ng gobyerno. Binibigyan po yung mga tao ng libreng mga attorneys or lawyers para sa kanilang kaso o dinggin, magbigay ng legal advice or assistance sa mga taong hindi kayang mag-hire ng kanilang private lawyers. Okay? Next, we have section number 12, right of person under investigation, also known as the Miranda rights. No, section number 12 class is divided into, how many is this one? One, two, three, four. Four sections or four parts. For the first part, it says here that any person under investigation for the commission of an offense shall have the right to be informed of his rights to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. If the person cannot afford the services of counsel, he must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence of a counsel. So for the first part of our rights of person under investigation, kapag hinuli yung isang tao, or ini-investigate yung isang tao, hinuli or ini-investigate yung isang tao, that person has the right to be informed of whatever case, criminal case or civil case yung kanyang kinakaharap. Okay? Kailangang malaman niya kung ano yung kaso na kanyang kinakaharap. And then, he should be or she should be informed that he has the right to remain silent o pwede siyang manahimik habang siya ay inaaresto para maging secure siya or protektado siya um, sa kanyang mga sasabihin. Kasi yung mga sasabihin niya ay marahil gamitin against sa kanyang sarili. Okay? So for him to remain protected, he has the right to remain silent o wag magsabi ng kahit anuman. Kahit na pinupersa na siya or sinasabihin siya ng pulis na umamin na sa kaso na kanyang kinakaharap. The person has the right to remain silent. And he or she should be informed that he has the right to have a competent and independent counsel, an attorney or a lawyer. Meron siyang karapatang kumuha ng competent and independent lawyer na pwedeng sumama sa kanya kapag dadalhin na siya sa presinto o sa hukuman. Okay? Kapag hindi kayang mag-hire ng ng taong yon ng kanyang sariling attorney o counsel, just like in the previous section, the government must provide a free legal counsel. Okay? Now, these rights cannot be waived except in writing and in presence of counsel. Meaning to say, kapag may sinabi yung akusado o yung inaaresto about sa kanyang kaso, like for example, umamin na siya habang siya ay inaaresto at saka may lawyer sa tabi niya o meron na siyang lawyer habang siya ay inaaresto at umamin siya, yung kanyang pag-amin ay pwedeng magamit against him. Okay? So, kapag wala kang lawyer, you should remain silent. Okay? At kung may lawyer ka naman, you need to get the advice of your counsel or your lawyer para maging ligtas ka sa mga sasabihin mo. Kasi once that you admit a crime with the presence of your counsel or your lawyer, pwede na po yun gamitin ng mga otoridad as an evidence or um, as an evidence or a declaration of your guiltness. Okay? Number two, kasama po dito sa section na ito yung paninigurado na dapat walang torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiate the free will the free will shall be used against him. Meaning to say, hindi po dapat persahan o persahin, di ka pa dapat persahin ng otoridad, i-torture, gumamit ng violence, intimidate, para ikaw ay paaminin dun sa kaso na dahilan kung bakit ka hinuhuli, okay? Wala din dapat secret detention, solitary, incommunicado or other similar forms of detention sa paghuhuli ng isang akusado, okay? Hindi po dapat pwede na pasikreto kang i-detain o ilagay ka sa isang selda na iisa ka lang. I mean, separated from other prisoners. Dapat ilalagay ka dun sa mga normal na selda. Okay? Habang ikaw ay o pagkatapos mong i-arestuhin o habang dinidinig yung iyong kaso. Okay? A protection din for those people under investigation. Number three, any confession or admission obtained in violation of this or Section 17, witness against him or herself, hereof shall be inadmissible in evidence against him. Ayan. Again ha, kanina sabi ko, kung wala pong, kung meron na pong lawyer at inadmit mo yung inyong kasalanan during the arrest or during the investigation, merong lawyer, may presence ng lawyer, pwede po yung gamitin as evidence. Pero pag wala po, pero pag wala po, oh, kapag ikaw po ay na-interrogate ng authority at saka ikaw ay nag-confess without the lawyer or the presence of lawyer, yung confession mo po kahit po totoo, hindi po siya pwedeng gamitin as evidence sa korte. Okay? Kasi it violates the section number 12. Okay? Ano naman yung tungkol sa number 17? Ano po yung tungkol sa number 17? Number 17 is also known as self-incrimination o yung pagtitestify mo against yourself. Hindi po yun pwedeng gamitin ng korte as an evidence against you. Okay? Yung pagsasabi mo o yung persahang pagtitestify mo against yourself is not valid or inadmissible as an evidence against you in front of the court. Okay? Number 4. The law shall provide for penal and civil sanctions for violation of this section, as well as compensation to the rehabilitation of victims or torture or similar practice and their family. Okay, ano ibig sabihin nito? No, kapag violate po yung inyong karapatan, your Miranda rights as mentioned here, or your right as a person under investigation, people violating these rights can be sanctioned with penal and civil liabilities. Like for example, for penal liabilities, we have imprisonment, like prison correctional o yung pag paglagak sa isang tao sa mga malakihang kulungan. Kasi yung nilalagay nila sa prison correctional, yung mga pangmatagalang pangmatagalang kaso na o yung pangmatagalang pagkakakulong. Pero yung aresto mayor within the span of days or 6 months, 4 to 6 months lang. Okay? So usually yung aresto mayor within the within your areas lang, within the municipality, within the cities. Pero yung prison correctional, pupunta ka na sa Maynila o dun sa mga malalaking kulungan. Like yung dun sa Muntinlupa or sa ano pa yung isa? Nakalimutan ko yung isang ano malaking kulungan dito sa Pilipinas. Anyway, that's penal liabilities or sanction. While civil sanctions includes compensation, fines, o restitution, o yung pagbabalik ng pera. Okay? And for those victims o yung mga akusado na nakaranas ng hindi pag-violate ng Miranda rights, pwede pong mabigyan ng kabayaran o compensation, uh, f- especially sa rehabilitation ng mga victims na nakaranas ng torture o kahit anong pagmamalupit from the authorities. Okay? So ito yung mga pwedeng maging sanction o maging punishment dun sa mga authorities na magva-violate ng Miranda rights. And if you can remember, kapag nakapanood na kayo sa mga televisions, parati po nila itong sinasabi, itong Miranda rights natin. Okay? Importante po ito. Nasabihin ng mga authority bago huliin yung isang akusado o yung isang suspect. So ano yung nilalaman ng ating Miranda rights? Let me just read. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will use against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. So ito po yung usually na binabanggit o dapat banggitin ng isang authority kapag ina-arrest nila yung isang akusado o isang suspect. Sir, paano pag hindi nabanggit ng Miranda rights? Pwede pong kasuhan yung ating authority. Kasi magiging invalid po yung ating arrest. Kasi ito po yung parang main or basic na right na dapat malaman ng akusado bago siya hinuhuli. Okay? Bago siya hulihin. Okay? No, in Tagalog, may karapatan kang manahimik, anumang sabihin mo ay maaaring gamitin laban sa iyo sa hukuman. May karapatan kang kumuha ng abogado at kung wala kang kakayahang kumuha ng abogado, bibigyan ka namin ng libre. Okay? So, yan yung dapat ninyong marinig. Yan yung dapat ninyong marinig kapag kayo ay hinuhuli ng mga otoridad. Next. May exemption pa rin po to ha. Pwede ka pong hindi basahan ng Miranda rights kapag public safety o public threat ka. Like for example, nagkukos ka ng chaos, hindi ba? May baril ka, pumunta ka sa kalsada, tapos itinututok mo sa mga sibilyan. Pwede kang hindi nabasahan o sabihan ng Miranda rights kasi you are a public threat. So you do not have the privilege to be to have this Miranda right or to be read by the to be yeah to be read by the authority for your Miranda rights. Next, number 13, right to veil. According here, all person except those charged with offenses punishable by reclusion perpetua when evidence of guilt is strong shall before conviction be available by sufficient sureties or be released on recognizance as may be provided by law. The right to bail shall not be impaired even when the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus is suspended. Excessive bail shall not be required. So for section number 13, it says here or it provides that all person except those charged with offenses punishable by reclusion perpetua when evidence of guilt is strong have the right to bail. Okay? So, before we proceed to that, we have reclusion perpetua. What is reclusion perpetua, class? It is a type of punishment given to those people who um who are facing or facing crimes that are considered to be heinous or yung mga malalalang kaso na. Okay? May pinagkaiba po yung reclusion perpetua at saka life sentence. Okay? o life imprisonment. Ito po yung dalawang pinakamabigat na punishment na pwedeng ihatol sa isang akusado. So yung reclusion perpetua, usually it lasts for 20 years and 1 day to 40 years imprisonment. Okay? So yung pinakamabigat na kaso sa Pilipinas is life imprisonment. Life imprisonment or um, in the span of human life. So hanggang mamatay ka na, nandun ka na sa kulungan. Those are the punishment that are non-bailable. Hindi po siya pwedeng um, mabail or mabayaran. Okay? Ano po yung mga kaso na pwedeng kasangkutan ng life imprisonment o hatulan ng life imprisonment? Usually, yung mga heinous crimes na ito, these are human trafficking, um, kidnapping, and rape. Okay? O yung kaso ni Alice Go, that's human trafficking. Yung paggamit niya ng Pogo companies as human trafficking institution. Ayun. So yung kaso niya ngayon, it's life imprisonment. Alright? Ano pa sabi dito? Um, so kung yung mga kaso mo is not under reclusion perpetua or life imprisonment, those are available cases. Okay? Pwede ka pong magbayad ng ah, ng pera para sa yung temporary or pansamantalang kalayaan. So para saan ba yung pansamantalang kalayaan? Pwedeng gamitin mo yon to acquire evidences, to develop your legal side or your legal statement or argument para sa inyong investigation. Kasi mas maganda naman na nandun ka mismo sa labas na may freedom ka na na i-formulate yung argument mo para sa iyong investigasyon o para sa iyong kaso. Okay? Mas effective 'yon. Compared dun sa nasa loob ka tapos magkakaroon lang kayo ng session with your lawyer para dinggin yung information about your case. Okay? Kaya ginagawa yung bail. No. Sabi din dito that excessive bail shall not be required. Meaning to say, hindi po dapat ganun sobrang kalaki yung bail, especially kapag yung mga crimes ay minor crimes lang or hindi siya ganun ka grabe or ka-heinous. So hindi po umaabot ng milyon ang bailing system sa Pilipinas. Usually around um, 5-digit numbers lang up until 900,000 if I'm not mistaken, but those are the range of bail system or bail rates in the Philippines. But remember class that bail may be denied in serious offenses, especially if the cases or the evidences used in those cases are strong, or the evidences are, yeah, too strong para sa kaso mo. And ano pa ba?